So the question is, do you think Tony Khan made the right decision by firing CM Punk? And if this same situation took place in WWE during the Attitude Era, what would be the outcome for CM Punk and Jack Perry have been?
I mean, the question for you, does it really matter what I think? I mean,
we want your opinion.
Does it really matter?
You were part of it. I mean,
well, I feel like as though, is that thing, my eyes going in and out, or is that monitor? I feel like, I mean, we've talked about this in some of this, and I've said many a times where Tony Khan needs to take control of stuff, but somebody had to be fired, I suppose, but I think both of them should have been fired. But I mean, I'm not in their meetings. I'm not. If you sit in it, there's so many ways to look at it. I could sit out here and read this site's, and this site stuff, and then another site will come out and say this, and this. Then you sit back and you try to find the truth in the middle, but you're not really gonna know the truth unless you were there experiencing it. And I'm not talking about people watching, but I'm saying you're
like behind the
CM
scenes.
Punk and you're Jack Perry and you're Tony Khan. What I could say about people asking if Tony Khan is a are they asking if he's a pussy or something, or what are they asking? What'd you say? And I know that's not my opinion. I didn't say that. I'm just saying, what are they asking?
Basically, how would it have been handled back in the day if it was part of WWE?
It wouldn't even have been a thing back in the day. It would have just been either fined. You'd have been sat down and said, hey, you're both fined this. First they'd ask you what the problem. All right, and you'd ask the other guy what's the problem, and he would have went through it. Okay. All right, so you don't do this. If you do this again, you're gonna get fired. You don't agitate him in this way and do this. But it would have never came to that because you would have went out on the air and said, oh, cry me a river. You wouldn't have went rogue in promos. You wouldn't have questioned if they said, hey, you're not using real glass. Because Vince McMahon had control of all that. Like that, none of that would happen. You know, and if there was a skirmish, they did that in Gorilla apparently. So everybody's seen it. Tony Khan's seen it. But I mean, I just told the story with Mark Merrill, right? Was it last podcast? Or it was the last podcast where Vince McMahon was just sitting there with the Godfather watching it. You know, Shane drug Luna out, Draws drug me out, and there was tables flipped, probably could be equivalent to a monitor. And Stephanie was sitting at the table. I just got told, if I hit him, I'm fired, and I was let out of the room, and they got fined, and then they didn't have another problem, you know. And so I think when you let things go, it should have all been handled all the way back to that first.
And before I got that
first fight or that first thing, and they should have handled things. But, you know, not being there, I can't, it's really hard to say. But I definitely would have, well, you got to think, like, so I feel like I'm, like, tripping all over the place because a lot of things run through my mind because I've read a lot of different things when I'm doing my cardio. So one of them, like, one of the
cardio
things.
Updates.
Yeah, one of the things they say, well, CM Punk was supposed to have a meeting in Atlanta, and then I don't know who canceled it, either the Elite or Tony Khan. Somebody canceled the meeting in Atlanta, but then when he flew to London Heathrow, there was rumors that the number he had for a driver wasn't the bogus number. It bounced back at him. So, and then he couldn't get Ubers there on his own, like to get an Uber, but so he had to take a train, right? The train, right? So. Me, on my lowest levels of independence, I've never been left stranded in Heathrow. I fly in, you know, I'll be going back over there in December and back in February. I've gone there for 18 straight years and never been left. And I'm not at a major company, and I'm not the star of the company, and I didn't get my own show. I've never been left without a ride at an airport in the UK. So that could be frustrating. So that could be super frustrating. So not only did you go to Atlanta, your meeting got canceled when you were willing to sit down with people and work it out. So you can start thinking, what the flip, if that's the truth. And then you go there and then you don't have a ride. They don't pick you up. You're like, the fuck kind of respect is that? You're like, you know, whether he says I'm CM Punk or who are you, whatever, he's still CM Punk. He's still main guy to me. WWE, they never left you like it was always sorted. You never had that problem. And then you get there, and then the guy you had a problem with, they put at the end of a pre-show, and they put you opening match, and then he goes out there on the pre-show and says that, and then you got to come walk back. He's gonna go and walk right past you when you got to go to the Gorilla. Of course, there's going to be a problem if this truly happened in a meeting. if that transportation thing truly happened, and then he went out there and did that while you're standing in Gorilla to go out there, cool. I mean, somebody's gonna say something. I mean, like, you're probably pretty perturbed by that, and you're probably going to flip, and you probably didn't care. Now, as far as lunging towards Tony Khan, is that what it's at? Lunging towards Tony Khan, you got to take in consideration. Tony Khan, like, he didn't grow up around wrestling. Now, he grew up wealthy. Like, he probably, I grew up in a really rough neighborhood and fought almost every day of the week, So to see a fight wasn't uncommon. And then when I got in pro wrestling, my first day in Calgary, I was lacing my boots, and Davey Boy Smith comes in, and he was huge back then. Picks this guy up named Jonathan Holiday by his ears and just beats his head into a wall. You blah, 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 in that British accent. I had no idea what he was saying. And he lets him go. And literally, it looked like a scene in the movie. It was a white wall in the locker room. And he was sitting next to me, so I was looking over this way. And I look, and it's just like a slime of blood. He's just, as he slides down the wall and he lets him go, there's just a streak of blood like a horror movie. And he's just laying there unconscious. And he goes, "Oh, Davey Boy, nice to meet you." Like, nice to meet you. Like, so it's common for me to see shit like that. That's violent. That was a dude's head beat against the wall till he's unconscious and bloody. Like, so it was Tony Khan. The way his dad's a billionaire, billionaire, whatever, he's brung up. He probably wasn't subjected to seeing grown men be violent with each other, or kids. Kids can be mean, but it was, who knows? I don't think that he grew up in an environment where he has seen a whole lot of that. So you get two, and I ain't saying Jack Perry's the biggest guy in the world, nor is CM Punk, but you get two grown dudes fighting with like a lot of passion and a lot of anger or whatever behind that, and intensity, and there's a lot of people there as a gorilla, so I can't picture CM Punk lunging in a sense that he's going to grab him by the throat and goozle him or hit him or something. He probably just said, "Fuck you, I quit," or something, because he's just probably so frustrated. I don't know. But not being there in those shoes is really hard to give what you think should be done. But I think if I had to go by everything I heard, I would have fired them both or suspended them or fined them both. Super heavy amount of money and sat him down, but it would have went back before that. I would have handled it back with the Young Bucks and the Kenny Omega when all that stuff went down after the scrum. It would have been done then. It wouldn't have festered and carried on. If you heard me in the school, when I've told all of you, the students and even the office there, if there's a problem, whether one's right or wrong, I cut both out. And then I cut it out. I remove it, just almost like a cancer before it spreads. Now, if it gets worked out amongst them and they come back and they plead their cases to me and, hey, this and that, they're welcome back. But immediately I just go, the problem's out. Unless I seen it myself, because I can't make a judgment without seeing it. I can't, he said, she said. I mean, it's too frustrating. So, but I mean, I would have, before it got to this, I would have sat him down, maybe handed out some really heavy fines and said, hey, we could be making money together, or we could just, somebody's got to go, But we need you to be adults about this and everything, and then let's see if we can move forward and make money together or not, And then if you can't, then don't be there. But I mean, it's a growing company. I mean, not that I'm a businessman in any sense, not that I can run a $1 million, billion-dollar company. I haven't, I've only wrestled on the lower ends of it and watch, so it's just all opinion, but a lot of it's just common sense too. Like, just really common sense. So it's a tough one. It's a shame, because that's all people are talking about, instead of saying, what a great Wembley show, what a great vibe. This is all we're talking about days and days after, still still in the news, overshadowing all that. So not really what you want to hang your hat on, if you know. But it is what it is. So what else we got? That answer your question? Or no? Or did I run all over the place?
No, it did.
All right.